Hello everybody, it's Graham here. I'm recording this, so hopefully I can bring up the file. Oh man, this was a rough ride. We went further up north to Philadelphia. From North Dakota to South Dakota, now back up north to Philadelphia. We were on our way back home when we got a phone call. My cell phone rang out, and I answered it, of course, and it was this group of people who wanted us to investigate some happenings and goings-on in Philly. Well, Pennsylvania to be exact. Not Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Sorry, my apologies. I digress. My memory's... No, I'm a bit tired from the plane ride. Okay? So, I'm going to make this short but sweet. What the lore says about this creature that we were going to investigate was that they called it the Goblin of Easton. I'm going to make it short but sweet, guys. This was a monk. This monk was a lover of money more than God. That's what it says. He would take confession, then he would blackmail the people with it. He was caught doing this, and he was then hung for it. When his body hit the ground, slowly turned into a goblin. Then he suddenly jumped up and ran into the forest, never to be seen again. Till a couple of weeks ago, when people's livestock started turning up missing and dead, as well as some people turned up dead. Now we all know what goblins look like, right? Well, you ever never seen what we seen? Now, we were investigating this goblin, mostly the so-called goblin is what we said it was. We got there, and there was, at this point in time, there was only a couple of animals that were being killed in a gruesome manner. Their livers had been ripped out, their stomachs and such like that, all like it was gutted, ripped out, and it was being eaten. Not the intestines, but the actual cow itself was eaten. Part of it was, at least. No, we checked. We looked all around the area. We did some scans. I don't know why we were doing this. The local cops should have been doing this. They were, as well. They wanted us to help them, since we knew about the paranormal, and someone said they saw something green and ugly and disgusting eating these creatures. So we were called by the local law enforcement to see what's going on. Now, as through our investigation, we got access to a couple of things, to a couple of people, and we ventured into the woods where this thing was supposed to be. So, once we got into the woods, we looked around. We split up, to our dismay. And as I was about to walk into a cave, I heard a scream. It was Sarah. Well, I stopped what I was doing and ran towards Sarah. Jim met me halfway. She had tripped and fell. Over a corpse. Someone had wandered into the woods about a week before, and we checked the checked for a pulse. There was no pulse. It was, like I said, a week before. I don't know why we checked for a pulse on a dead corpse that was starting to stink. It goes beyond me. So, we checked this out. And we call the police. They come out there, bring out with the equipment, got the body out of there, and they searched the area with us. Well, I started lingering near that cave again, because I was thinking maybe something would be in that cave. I was hoping something would be. But you never know. As it got darker that day, we decided to head back to town, rent a hotel, check up a couple things, check to see who that body was. No. We found out that it was not a local. It was a cousin of someone who was local. They hadn't been here in a while. So no one thought it was weird when she went missing. They thought she had left. Now, what was weird about this is that her car was nowhere near the forest. Her car was found about 1.5 miles off the main road. It was found near the forest. There was signs of a struggle in her car. There were some scratch marks and some blood. She wasn't killed in her vehicle, though. She was killed where she was found. Her skull was cracked, and they thought it was... Well, the story was that she had gotten out because of a flat. She tried to set. It was dark, and she decided to make a hike through the woods. Looking for a dog or a cat or something like that, because she brought a cat with her. And had gotten out somehow, and she went to go look for it, and she was she fell, and she knocked herself unconscious. That was the story that was sold to the press. Now, the story that was told to us, because we were helping with the investigation, and the story that we knew, she was found in the forest and killed in the forest. Murdered. She was hit in the head with a rock. A rather big rock. It was found next to her corpse. She had been missing for days, but it looked like weeks. Because of the weather that had rolled through before. She wasn't counted missing because she was headed to the airport. So, we got up the next day and we decided to go check out the forest. Without a police escort, of course. We did things our own way. We still do. So we went out there. And I said, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to do. And this, and this, and this. So, I wanted to check out the cave. So I popped out the flashlight. Went into the cave. As they started setting up the equipment. Setting up camera trails and whatnot. We wanted to catch this thing. If we couldn't catch it on video, then we were screwed. But we had to catch this thing on video. So I wandered down deeper into the cave. I don't know where this was in the forest. The cave didn't look like a cave, though. It looked more man-made. I walked in there, looking around. Got to the edge of it. And found what looked like bones. It was, well, they were bones, but they were animal bones. I think one was a cat. Another one was a horse. No, not a horse. A cow of some sort. A deer or something like that. It was just weird. They were all, the skulls were all neatly in a circle. On top of what looked like stones, like a stone circle. Looked like a fire pit was in there. Something of signs of intelligent life. Did this. So I set up a camera, an infrared camera in there, hidden behind some stones in the back. Far enough back to where there would be no lens glare. And then I set a pen camera inside the socket of one of the skulls on the fire. And I headed out and looked around, and nothing at that point in time I could see. So I wanted to wait till nightfall. Got up, met up with Sarah and Jim. They found nothing. So I waited till nightfall. Set everything up. We had everything set up, and we set up the cameras in the van that we had rented. And we waited and waited and waited until sometime around midnight. The cameras started catching things. From what I know, from what we recorded, what we found, they started catching pictures of not bugs, but of, squirrels and whatnot, stuff like that. My main focus was what was on the camera in that alcove or cave or whatever it was. That was my main concern. And I was watching it all night. And then about one point in time, the pen camera was picked up. Something stared at it. It was ugly, greenish, pinkish, humanoid looking creature. Ugly as sin. And it picked up the pen camera, looked at it, dropped it. And whatever it was came out of that cave or alcove, screeching. And it started running out of the forest. And it stopped as soon as it hit the clearing. We had cameras in the clearing as well. Looked at our camera and knocked it over. I mean, it was slammed to the ground. We caught a glimpse of it as it picked up the camera and ripped it apart. And then it saw our van and it rushed it. My adrenaline was going. Jim looked at me. I looked at Jim. Jim pulled out got the gun out of his bag, tossed it to me. But comes near us, he said, shoot. I said, why don't you shoot? He said, no, I'm shutting these doors. Kicked me out of the van, and it ran right for me. And it lunged, and I popped off a couple of shots. It shook it off like it wasn't nothing. And it continued to run at me, so I did the only thing that came natural to me, and that is pull out my knife, clicked it, and just as it lunged for me, I stabbed it right in the throat. It fell to the ground. Then it got back up, looked at me, and pushed me to the ground. It's choking me. These hands were twice as big as mine. And it was around one hand was around my throat, while the other one was pinning me to the ground. I'm fighting this thing, barely breathing. Jim comes out, pulls with a baseball bat and swings it. It knocks it off me. It gets back up and runs for Jim. Just as it runs for Jim, I just swing with my fist in the back of his head. It falls to the ground. I toss Jim the pistol. He shoots it about 5 times in the head and doesn't move. I don't know what it was, what we saw. The police came. They debriefed us. They took it away. We weren't charged, thank God. We took the pictures and everything. The police took them, confiscated them, and paid us for them. And we left them off to our next place that we were going to next. Business doesn't stop. Even though you're nearly wound up, half dead, half alive, or just scared out of your wits, business just doesn't stop for us. Well, I want to thank everybody for those new subscribers. I thank you guys for joining up. I do pre-recording, so because of I have to, and I like doing pre-recordings. But this one's just a mini of 3. So the next one will be coming up pretty soon. I'll do them every first Monday of the month, the third Monday of every month, and the fourth of every Monday of the month. The third Monday I reserve for my research and sometimes recording. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, please hit that subscribe button if you want. If you want more stuff like this, please hit the like button. It helps me out a lot. And stay tuned for more content. Good luck and good night.